Hello everybody and welcome to another Expanded Guide. Today we're talking about another Parallel Investigator, Parallel Agnes Baker. If you don't know what the parallels are, they were released as print-and-play investigators on the Fantasy Flight Games website. They're alternate versions, reimagined versions, redesigned versions of these characters, keeping like the same flavor but twisting it a bit for the character.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, so Parallel Agnes Baker, her stat line is 5223, and her ability is as an additional cost to play a spell event, you may take 1 damage. If you do, reduce the cost to play that event by 2, and you may shuffle that event back into your deck instead of discarding it. That's a really good ability.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah, you do not have to, because that for her Dark Memory, you're going to want to probably pay 2 less for that when we get to that guy.
We talk a lot about needing economy in your decks, but for her, you kind of don't.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, like basically with, we're going to get through as we go through the cards, but 2 cost events especially, you're like, that's free, baby.
That's
like,
a sweet spot.
That's a 0 cost card.
It's most bang for your buck.
Yeah. And then even like a Storm of Spirits, a 3 cost event, now only costs 1. Like that's so the only thing is that, as you can see in the weaknesses, you do need a plan for the damage you take. You can't just be like, I'm never gonna die, right? And like just have nothing. Because you will eventually have to stop using your ability or die, right? But luckily it's really easy to build a plan for your soak, as we're gonna get through all these cards here. Her Elder Sign effect is +1 and you may heal 1 damage. There is already some built-in healing right there, but that once again can't be your plan to just get Elder Signs.
You know, I bet's not in here, but it would be really good for her.
What?
Meditative Trance.
Probably, yeah.
I probably just wrote that card off as trash.
So her deck size is 25. She can run Mystic 0-5, Spell 0-3, and Occult 0-3. The Occult ones are some doozies that we're going to get into later. And then Neutral 0-5. Her Heirloom and Dark Memory, the advanced versions. I believe if you use one advance, you have to use the other. I don't know if you need to use the advanced, though, but you are going to want to use the advanced Heirloom of Hyperborea because it's really good.
Why would you ever pick to use the advanced Dark Memory if you didn't have to?
Exactly, right, yeah. So it comes with it. Her additional options is when you upgrade a spell card, you may instead pay the full experience cost of the higher level version and leave the lower level version in your deck. It does not count towards your deck size or the number of copies of that card in your deck. I'll be honest, I've seen Agnes twice. I've played her once, and I never did that, but that is something you can do. I did a down the rabbit hole thing for mine.
Do that.
Well, yeah, you did build a standalone. So.
Yeah. Well, I could have put multiple word protections in it, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that, but
Someone would say that's against the rules, but you know what we say to that? Who cares? We're here to have fun, and having fun is playing 6 mortar protections.
Yeah, I'm the guy in the videos who's going to tell me no.
Yeah. So, Heirloom of Hyperborea, it's a 3-cost asset that commits for a Brain, a Fist, and 2 wilds, takes up the accessory slot. Only damage and or horror from player card effects can be assigned to Heirloom of Hyperborea. It soaks for 3 and 3, and as a reaction, after you play a spell card, draw a card. Yeah, that's really good. If you're playing Agnes Baker, the games with Heirloom and without Heirloom are legitimately like night and day. You'll never run out of cards in your hand. It doesn't exhaust. It's no limit. You just have to play spell cards, and you're like, but where do I get the economy? Baby, she is the economy. Just got to take some of that blood magic.
Yeah. So a little bit of blood magic.
Just the tiniest bit. So yeah, it's a really good card, and you're going to want to get it. If you are running some of the relics that we're going to see later, Relic Hunter is going to be a very priority upgrade. Heirloom of Hyperborea is just very good. Her Dark Memory is pretty much the same as the last one. Place 1 Doom, you can cause it to advance, take 2 horror if it's in your hand at the end of your turn, but now it costs 4. So you're going to want to use your ability more often than not. You might have the money saved because everything else you're playing could be free.
Yeah.
But it does cost more, and you don't need to shuffle it back into your deck, but a true gamer would.
What? This one's like a little weird in that it makes you take 2 horror instead of 1 from the original, right? Or is
no, I think the other one was also.
Okay.
I'll check.
But it's better for you because you are going to be taking less horror from your ability. It's not something you want to do, but also you can't use it to do damage to enemies now.
Yeah, exactly. So she has a strong economy. She sees your weaknesses less often because you are going to be putting stuff into your deck. You do have a smaller deck size as well. That's made up, in theory, with you adding more cards in the upgrades, because Parallel Skids has a similar thing. But that's not necessarily true. It just means that your decks are just
Oh, you have a bigger deck size. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why should you have a 25
deck
size? Yeah, that makes sense.
But because you're going to be reshuffling in your Ward of Protections, your Spectral Razors, your Read the Signs, you're going to see your weaknesses less often. She also has 5 brain. That's strong. And then the weaknesses is narrow deck building. It is true. Mm-hmm. She's like, pretty much you're looking at spell events, and then you need a plan for the damage you take, but luckily that's a very solvable weakness.
Yeah. Her stat line is actually, like, nuts.
Yeah.
You have 5 and 3 in your defensive stats, and like the 5 is also your do things stat.
Yeah. And then because your do things stat is like so good that your Spectral Razors and your Read the Signs just hit for a good number.
Yeah. You also don't have to like worry about if the game does happen to ask you to make like a book or fist test on a encounter card. You can just get rid of it with Mystic cards.
Yeah. All right, Travis, why don't you talk about some of these Corsair cards here, and most of them are staples.
Yeah, they are. Imagine that. So Ward of Protection is a spell that you can shuffle back into your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also you can upgrade to have multiple copies of it. Never fear the encounter deck again, I guess.
Never.
Yeah, you should probably think about playing that on your Agnes deck. I'll do all the staples first, and I'll come back for Blinding Light.
Sure.
Emergency Cash gives you money. Purple doesn't actually have a ton of great options for this. And like you are going to have some assets that you want to play depending on your build, and you might need a little bit of money to make up for that, aside from the 1 free one you get every turn.
Yeah.
We have Guts, because that's your do something stat. We have Manual Dexterity, because it's a pretty solid defensive card, pushing that other defensive stat up to 5 at a pinch, which is a solid option, especially if you have a smaller collection and you need to fill your deck a little bit. Same with Unexpected Courage, just kind of the best of both worlds in Guts and Manual Dexterity, but also doesn't draw you a card, so... We are Holy Rosary here, which, in spite of her ability, you're still going to take a little bit of brain damage. This can help with that, while also boosting your brain up to 6. Mm-hmm. And then Arcane Initiate, which is very strong, particularly strong for Agnes, because you're going to be playing lots of one-shot effects, and to keep getting use out of your ability, you need to keep having more events to play, and this will help you find them.
And then also with Arcane and eventually David as well, we always say you need like a plan for them. She has a plan built into it.
She is the plan,
yeah. You're just like, hey, thanks for the Spectral Razor.
yeah, she's supposed to be one of the good guys.
Right?
And the last one here is Blinding Light, which is one of the 2 cost events we talked about. This one lets you evade using your brain instead of your foot, and if you succeed, you get to deal damage to it. And then if you reveal one of the symbol tokens, you lose an action this turn, which is unfortunate, but it is just the life of playing Mystic. Blinding Light's a card that we don't play that often, but I think it deserves a little bit more credit than we give it, especially when it's free.
Yeah, and I played it in the one time I played it was in Parallel Agnes, and it was a good time. It's a good because it's a kill spell in a way, but it also sometimes it eats your action and that. But like you said, that's just the risk in being a mystic.
Yeah, these evade spells that do damage as well, like this and Ineffable Truth, are particularly nice when you're not playing like Shriveling or something like that.
Yeah.
That do big bursts of damage because they let you chip away over 2 turns, and also you get your damage in for the action, but also you get to evade the enemy, so that way you don't take damage that turn.
Yep. All right. We have Drawn to the Flame. This guy right here is not a spell, so you can't do your ability with it, but it does just get 2 clues for an encounter card, which when your stats for brain and foot are that ain't a problem. Not to mention all your Ward of Protections you've been hoarding.
Yeah, especially since you're not going to be too high on playing the asset spell cards.
Yeah, exactly. We have Blinding Light. This is the upgraded version, level 2, and now deals 2 damage. Its downside is not 2 actions, thank God. It's just lose an action and lose 1 resource. So it's not like that big of a downside in comparison. It's like pretty similar.
I mean, I think it wouldn't actually be that bad in a lot of cases. For if it lost you 2 actions, I think that a good chunk of the time you're playing this card, you're playing it as your last action. If you're like attacking with a spell or something like that, and then there's going to be times where you want to play it and then you can like go do something else or leave, but like quite often you'd be like, I'm going to try to attack him a couple times and see how it goes. It's
true. Yeah, the downside of this one really does change depending on your approach for your deck and your turn, but it now deals 2 damage.
No.
Which is like...
Oh yeah, for the ability, yes.
Yeah.
I was reading the drawback. I thought we were still talking
No.
that.
But it does deal 2 damage, which is a really nice number. That's like especially because it also doesn't care about elites, so this is great for boss fights too. Yeah.
Really good for that. Yeah.
We have Mind Wipe, which you can basically blank a non-elite enemy's text box, and yeah, this is like some like tech, like certain campaigns it is better than others, but if you wanted to try it out with Parallel Agnes, it can be free.
Mm-hmm.
It can go back in your deck. You can do it over and over and over again, and just something to consider.
It wasn't included. I don't think it was included in your video, your deep dive on it. But I bet this card's pretty good in Innsmouth.
I haven't gone. I actually just did Dunwich. I haven't done any of the others.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not in there then.
Yeah. Even though I agree, it would probably be good in Innsmouth, like because then you could like do it.
At the start of the enemy phase, and then like you don't take the damage from engaging you or something like that.
Or like even just like for example, like if the goon, just the way it went, like they want to like engage it, right? You can basically just blank it and you can just like go, especially for something like Deep One Bull, right?
Yeah, the ones like make you discard cards, or the guys who are like put a key on me or get hit.
Yeah. I mean, like, even just, like, there's a lot of ways that it can, like, because I believe the Deep One Bull readies, like, say, like, for example, you evaded him and then someone kills the Deep One Bull, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just, like, because he won't stand up and then chase that guy anymore. Or kills, like, another Deep One somewhere else because he hunts on that.
It's so stupid, but Mind Wipe's got to be one of our most talked about cards.
Well, I think it's just because, like...
we just never play it either.
It's the card that, like, deserves... It has the most variety for how it is, right? You can't just, like, look at it in a vacuum, right? Because then you have to, like, talk about every enemy. We've gotten away from Agnes Baker, though, so I'm going to keep going. We have Grotesque Statue. 4 charges. Takes up a hand slot. When you reveal Chaos Token, you can spend a charge, reveal 2 instead of 1. Choose 1 to resolve and ignore the other. Strong card. It's a strong card.
It's a good card.
Then we got Bulletproof Vest. If you have a smaller collection and you want to worry about like taking all the blood damage you're going to take for your blood magic, Bulletproof Vest is one of the options. You also... I know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make flavor sense.
Cutting up your clothing, you're like, here's your blood.
This Vest bleeds. This is the only real like thing that competes with it right now is the Robe of Endless Night. But if you don't have it, this can be an option if you do want to.
Backpack kind of does.
Backpack kind of does.
Yeah, because like you probably. I think Backpack Special Level 2 is very strong, and Agnes Baker look at half your deck to find your heirloom, among other things.
True. Yeah.
And then also, but yeah, you can just like throw it away after you're done with it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, you could just find your vest in your backpack. All right, Travis, why don't you go Dunwich?
Sure, we got Ritual Candles. This one makes those symbol tokens a little less painful to draw. You don't have a ton of competition in those hand slots for Agnes, so it's a decent throw-in. Got Delve Too Deep, which will help you get that experience you need to play all the sick Mystic cards. Sometimes at the expense of your teammates, but that's their problem. Yeah. Then we got Hypnotic Gaze. This card
I was reading
before.
it. I was reading it. I was actually like... Because I didn't play this in my Parallel Agnes, but this card seems like actually good. Because then it's just a dodge that has a chance to deal damage back to an enemy. Yeah.
Also, did you know that this card has an upgrade version?
I did know that. I did.
Yeah, no, this card's like pretty okay in Agnes. 3 is a lot to pay for it normally, but 1
is a lot less.
Yeah, and the damage when you intend to take tens of damage over the course of a game is a lot more manageable.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that like maybe you don't fire it off if the enemy's dealing you 1 damage, right? But if the enemy's dealing you like a damage and a horror, you've now saved some some damage and horror, right?
Yeah,
so.
These cards in particular are pretty... Hypnotic Gaze, both of them are pretty good against like the big boss enemies because they don't care about it being elite or not.
Yes, yeah.
It's nice to be able to just not take, the 3 heart damage or whatever you're going to take and then shuffle it back onto him maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Painkillers. This one lets you trade your horror for hearts. One of which you use to cast your spells, and the other one, Mystics tend to have an abundance of healing and soak for. So.
Yeah.
We got our Jewel of Aureoles. This is, if you want to run sort of a Relic Hunter build, the accessory slot is quite tight because you want the heirloom. But this is another... It's almost like another copy of the heirloom, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of is.
It's like a worse copy of the heirloom for sure, but like it does especially in larger groups, you can probably get a single card off this every turn, or 3 resources, and that's a good place to be.
I mean, even you yourself, the dream turn, you play Spectral Razor, you get like the Cultist, and then you draw 2 cards. That's like, because you have the Heirloom in this set, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth knowing that it doesn't work with like Hinaki's though, because it only cares if you reveal them during a skill test.
Yes.
Which is a little sad, but... We got our Ward of Protection level 5 here. This one cancels any card. Really good.
And this one's also notably much better in Agnes because you can see it multiple times.
Yeah, also you don't have to give up the level 2 version.
Yeah, that's also pretty sick too. Yeah.
Then we got Relic Hunter and Charisma because sometimes you want to play something alongside the Heirloom or you want to play multiple dudes.
Yeah. Alright, Travis, we have one more Dunwich card.
It's Emergency Cash, level 2! This one is here because it draws you a card.
Yep. And that is... I've actually... it's a little... Like, maybe I'm just, like, in this weird... I've been playing Arkham too much. But I'm starting to, like, look at this card now and be like, I think I'm going to put this in more of my decks. Like, it's in my Daniela box on standby. Because it just draws a card.
It is, like, just a really nice... There's a lot of campaigns I find where I end up with, like, Emergency Cash at the end. I'm like, I need money to play my things. And this is just...
Better.
It's just that better.
Yeah.
Nothing flashy or anything like that, but like I would be upset if we were playing a game and you show up in like scenario 2. And I spent my 4 experience on level 2 emergency cash. Just to be like,
that's a bit. That is a bit soon. I do agree.
This is a scenario 6, scenario 7 upgrade, but it's pretty good there.
Or scenario 4 if you're a survivor. Alright, on to the Path of Carcosa. I'll take these ones. We have Uncage the Soul. Play a spell or ritual card from your hand, reducing its cost by 3. It's a staple. Money. Save money. Save money.
Much less important in Agnes than other
Very true.
mystics,
Very true. We have Astral Travel. 3 costs, but it's really 1 cost. That's how we were looking at all these. Move to any revealed location, and then you reveal a token. If it's bad, you discard an item or ally asset you control if you can't take 1 damage. Realistically, if you're playing Astral Travel, you know in the back of your head that you can lose it, right? Like, you're going to lose something. So it's not that big of a downside for a move across the entire map, right?
Yeah, like, you're not playing this card unless you need it, and in the scenarios where you need it, you're probably not. You don't care about losing a thing.
Yeah. And then likewise, too, you might have gotten this off an Arcane Initiate, and they can go in the bin.
Yeah.
Right? David Renfield.
Speaking of.
This guy is fantastic. You get +1 brain while there's a Doom on him, and you can exhaust him to place 1 Doom on him and gain 1 resource for each Doom on him. That's a nice thing. But he also gives you economy, which you do need.
He's worth so much money in Agnes.
Yeah. Even though we're saying that her economy is sorted, you are still going to be playing things that you can't reduce. Your deck's not just going to be spell events, because Bryn and I have tried that, and it's bad. Right? But the thing that's really good, as I said about Arcane Initiate, is that she can kill David so easily.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, in a vacuum, David's a +5 resources for her that gives her a brain the entire time as well.
Yeah, and you don't need to, and there's no risk with David with Parallel Agnes.
Yeah,
there's very little risk with other investigators, but with Agnes, there's legitimately no risk unless you don't put any spell events in your deck. Yeah, unless you build your deck.
There could be a scenario where you're just I don't have enough spells in my hand to kill him or something like that, but you'd just use your brain a little bit.
Yeah. We have Storm of Spirits. This is a thing that can zap every enemy and maybe investigators at your location.
Hey.
It costing 1 is really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
We have the Spirit of Thame. It's always fun to see one of the weird cards in an expanded guide. Every time I'm making one of these and I see one of them, I'm like, oh, right, this is fun. We have this. So this guy, it's you can, during a test on a spell card, you can exhaust. You get +2 skill value for this test. That's really good with all the spells you're going to be slinging with Agnes. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at stuff I'm actually about to say a little bit of a fib, because upgraded Storm of Spirits does what the upgraded Trivelines do, where it gives you more brain, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the spells, you're going to be looking at using just your brain. Mm-hmm. And this allows you to basically get an unexpected courage for those cards that don't give you a brain boost.
Yeah, there's a couple scenarios where this card, the fist part of it is relevant as well. where like you don't want to be spending your Spectral Razor to kill a Rats or
Yes.
a Will-O-Wisp, and
Yeah.
that's a little bit unreasonable to do. I mean, not unreasonable, but like you don't want to be trying to do it with 2-punch.
And that's exactly, with this too. The bottom action is great for killing those things that aren't worth a spell.
Yeah.
Like, even though you can recycle your Spectral Razor, it feels really bad to do it on a rat.
You still have to like spend an action drawing it again.
Yes, yeah. The level 2 Ward of Protection, it's a staple. Help your friends and put it back in your deck afterwards.
Yeah.
Upgraded Arcane Initiate, it comes in with Horror on it instead of the Doom. Doom is still probably the right choice here with Parallel Agnes.
In most
but
cases, yeah.
There are times when you are going to want to still just put the Horror, but still just more, not by no means priority, because like basic Arcane Initiate is still very strong, but
Yeah.
something to consider. We had Time Warp. This allows you to undo an action, and I did not know, like, because to me, I look at Time Warp as how the designers intended Time Warp, right? Where it's like it's like basically an advanced copy of Lucky, right?
Yeah.
But like apparently, like there was a conversation on Discord about how like
Can you bring someone back to life?
Can you bring someone back to life? Can you like delve redoing a delve too deep? And then I was like,
I think you can like bring someone back to life, provided you're not the person who died, because then you can't play the card, right? Like if I attack someone with Shriveling and then I miss and they take a big pile of damage and die, then that was part of the consequence of making the test. So
yeah. Because you undo it, you turn it into the game state exactly the way, but like, the designers are just like...
You gotta be careful with your delve deeps, you gotta keep track of them.
Yeah. I'll finish off Carcosa too. We have Seal of the Elder Sign. Great card. We don't see that much. I mean, you haven't played a Mystic in a while in person. I mean, we actually haven't played a lot in person in a while, but... gives you just an Elder Sign for an important test, and that also heals you a damage.
Yeah, this card's a lot harder to fit into decks nowadays, too. You just have a lot competing for that experience now.
Yeah. And I mean, like, let's kind of be honest. This is basically, like, a promise of power, kind of. Like, we're not gonna, like...
Maybe. Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. And then we got Key of Ys, card's good.
Yeah.
Card's good. Luckily, well, I mean, that's actually probably a good thing, because she would destroy that Key of Ys almost immediately.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah. Forgotten Age, I think, is nice and easy, so why don't you take this?
Yeah, we got Premonition. This one can help out. A lot of your spells do bad things to you if you draw a symbol, and this can help you play around that a little bit. Arcane Research is really nice with that additional deck building thing she's got going on, where you upgrade cards, they cost less, and then this makes them cost less experience. Yeah. Feed the Mind is a nice spell to keep your hand full of cards. The book test is like not super easy for Agnes to do, but it is doable if that's like where you're at.
Spirit of Fame.
Yeah.
You can bump up that one.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Could use like Prophetic.
Yeah, Prophetic, yeah.
There's definitely
Prophetic
ways to make this work.
We're going to get to that, but that's a sick card with her. Oh my god.
Yeah. We got our level 3 Altar Fate here. This card is incredibly versatile, and would love to shuffle it back into my deck so many times in this scenario.
Yeah.
We got Counter Spell, which again can help deal with those curse tokens. Those symbol tokens. And just generally like support your team.
Yeah.
It's also one of those spells that hits the sweet spot of being 2 resources to play. Then we got Sacrifice, which is, again, an economy card. Mystics don't have a ton of draw options, and this is one of the better ones. It also helps solve just an additional answer to your David Renfield or your Arcane Initiative.
I'm excited. I'm playing it today. My first time playing Sacrifice in paper. I'm very excited.
I got a lot of cards in my deck. It's my first time playing.
Oh yeah, that's exciting. You're doing Carolyn, right?
Yeah.
That video is already out by the time this video is here. It's our Machinations of Time or Through Time, whatever it's called. Yeah. All right, that was really easy for Forgotten Age. Let's keep this going into Circle Undone. And now we get some juicy cards, specifically Hallowed Mirror and Occult Lexicon. So we'll talk about both of these kind of like back to back. So a Hallowed Mirror, limit 1 in your deck, same with the Occult Lexicon, and then after just play both of them, you search for your bonded cards for 3 copies of Soothing Melody or Bloodright. You put 1 into your hand, shuffle the other 2 in your deck. Both of those are spells, which means you can, do them again and again and again and again. And doing them again and again is really good. These get really spicy to the upgraded versions that we're going to touch on to later, because they are occult, so that's the level 3 occult cards.
Yeah, it's like the thing that she can play.
Yep. So Soothing Melody is heal 2 damage or 2 horror from among investigators and or ally assets to your location and draw a card. While this is like less exciting than a version, like if you just do this as heal 1 damage and shuffle it back into your deck, that's not an exciting turn. I mean, it does replace itself, but like it's still fine, right? Like especially on a down turn as Agnes. Like if you're an Agnes fighter, it's like you'll have those down times where you can just like slowly heal damage and get it all back up. Yep. We're gonna come back to this when we get to the upgraded version though, because that's where it gets kind of nutty.
Yeah.
We then have Blood Right, which is draw 2 cards, discard up to 2 cards from your hand for each card thusly discarded. You may either gain 1 resource or spend 1 resource to deal 1 damage to an enemy or location. This action, of course, does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Why would it? Oh, it's a fight spell. It has to not provoke attacks of opportunity.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Monster. I'm reading from the book right now.
Like, sorry. So this is something that Travis was talking about, how like Mystics, they don't have a lot of card draw. Using this, I use this a lot for just card draw, right? Like not like you like.
This card does it all, man.
It does it all. Yeah, it's card draw. If you don't need the cards, you can turn them into resources. If you have the resources and you don't want the cards and you want to kill an enemy, you can just do it. And then
damage,
you can shuffle it back into your deck. Yeah. I found with my play pattern, especially as the game went on, I kept I got rid of 2 of each of them, and I kept 1 in my decks as I kept going. But really, it comes down to how you want to play it. I don't think there's like a correct way for how you handle your 3 copies, right? Especially because your deck, you can just keep drawing them, especially with your Blood Rights. You can just keep... They basically both draw cards.
I find I rarely need to play more than 3 of them in this scenario, but you know.
But you can.
You can, yeah.
They're just very strong, and they're going to get even stronger once we get to the upgraded versions. So the other cards here, we have Eldritch Inspiration. Play when you resolve an effect on a Mystic card that triggers when you reveal a bad token. Either cancel that effect or resolve an additional time. This can work well for the Blinding Light and that other spell, the dodge that I completely forget the name of already. Hypnotic Gaze, thank you, yeah. So like you can say yes or no depending on how you want them into other effects as well.
Invading an elite enemy and then chunk them for 4.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. 6th Sense. This is in our spell video. This is the choice here because it doesn't require charges.
Yep.
I imagine that's why this one.
You just plop it down as something to do like with your other actions. You know, if you're sitting there and you're like, "There's only 1 clue in this location. I'll play read the signs. No enemies for me to fight. I'll just get a clue with my 5 or 6 brain." Yeah.
Well, I think that Parallel Agnes does skew a little bit more to the fighting side.
Oh, for sure.
You can do clue getting, but I think the fighting side with the 6th Sense kind of just sitting there is probably just a nice clean way.
Super easy flex card to play.
And then we got 2 Deny Existences. Do you know what's better than playing Deny Existence 5 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times? It's that would be
failure. You get the auto fail on your Grasping Hands test. You know, like I'll heal 3 and then take 1.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's gross. It's gross.
Throw away your hand, Agnes, and go.
Again, like it's 5 experience. I don't think it's a priority upgrade by any means because the level 0 is still just. But it could be.
There's a lot of really strong spell options at level 0 that you can afford to do some kind of otherwise greedy upgrades like this one.
Yeah, to me, when I play with Parallel Agnes, the first 9 experience goes into Relic Hunter, the Hallowed Mirror, and Occult Lexicon. That's like my first purchases there. But then again, like you're playing like down the rabbit hole, and you're like, it's already like done for you.
Playing down the rabbit hole and arcane.
Get research to get your Mystics.
You're like, I'm gonna be playing healing cards anyway. Yeah. Throw Individuals in there.
Yeah.
Give me the trauma.
All right. Finishing off Circle Undone. Yeah, Dream Eaters next. You can talk about Dream Eaters. We got 4 of Cups. Gives you more brain.
That's it.
Yep. We have Banish, which I'm gonna read. Use only on a non-elite enemy. This evasion uses brain instead of foot. It's an evade spell. If you succeed, move that enemy. Just evade it to any location in play. If you succeed and a bad token was revealed, except the auto fail, that enemy is not ready during the next upkeep phase. Yeah, it costs 0, right, with her ability.
Yeah,
right.
You just send some guy to wherever.
Yeah, it's not a bad option if you're looking at evade spells.
Yeah, you just like send to the other side of the moon or whatever, and you're like.
I imagine this is like, even though we don't talk about it too much here, this would be really good in a solo Parallel Agnes.
Yeah.
Upgraded 6th Sense, more of a good thing. And then we got Diana, when you can attach a spell event
Diana.
and then Diana, sorry, not Diana.
They're different people.
They both have long brown hair to me.
And they also are both witches.
Yeah, and they both wear cloaks.
Yeah.
But that's where it ends. She allows you to play an event attached to her 3 times because she has for secrets. One thing I recently learned is that you can change the event attached to her.
That's a garbage ruling.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. I mean, I at the very least am okay with it because it matches how like item slots work, but I feel like it should have been. To me, I grok it as that you can't attach anything else. That's what makes sense to me on the reading it, right?
Yeah, because there's limit 1 attached.
Yeah, but if it does fit like with how how slots work, at least that's like a bit more consistent. But I prefer. I mean, like realistically, why are you needing to switch? Just put your good event on her, right? Like just do it.
Because you have 2 different deny existences, and you draw your 5 later.
You know what you do there? You just wait. All right. On to Dream Eaters, Travis.
Yeah, we got our Scroll of Prophecies here. Again, nice hand slot asset that draws you cards, both things that Agnes is happy to see. We got Read the Signs, Spectral Razor. These are kind of like your staple do thing spells in Peril Agnes, I think. You get them from the start of the game. They both scale well into they both like still do what you need them to do late into the campaign. Just good cards. We've got Thrill Form. Just a nice card to get you out of a jam. Not quite as ubiquitous as a Read the Signs and Spectral Razor, but it is nice to just like be able to dump a bunch of enemies. Especially since you're probably playing a big pile of soak, you do have the option to like engage a bunch of enemies for your teammates and then just kind of peace out with this. We've got our Word of Command. This one lets you tutor up a spell by name, which like you're playing lots of spells, so just picking the one that you want is pretty good. It doesn't even make it cost 2 more because this is also a spell. You can just... It's a really strong option to like ensure that you always have your level 5 deny existence in your hand or whatever, or always have a level 2 ward or protection. Mm-hmm. We've got Mind's Eye. This one takes up both your arcane slots because that is not something that Peril Agnes cares too much about.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so you can use your brain instead of your not good stats. You also intend to be drawing a fair amount of cards, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find your other copies to put more secrets on this.
Yeah, realistically, this could never run out of secrets. You can cycle through your deck really quick with this, and you also, like, you do shovel things back in, but you also can... You're going to be drawing a lot of cards with Bloodwrite, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards with your Soothing Melodies.
And with your other cards that draw you cards.
Yeah,
you need them.
that we've talked about.
Yeah,
I mean, your heirloom draws a card every time you play a spell.
If you also forgot about them, you can go rewatch the first part of the video. Yeah. And we got Black Cat, and like, what if I told you could never die?
Seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could just cast your spells for free forever.
Yes.
The cat does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hefty experience cost, though.
Yes.
We got our Shine Trap Zohedron. This is the video that Shine Trap Zohedron gets to be in, I believe.
Nice job.
Where you have a big pile of brain, and so you can pass the test, and like you're not going to be playing very many resource sharing cards, so sometimes you need resources. So yeah.
I was seeing like some sort of thing where like, so there's a cost to play it, you may take 1 damage. If you do, reduce it by 2. So you could do a brain 0 test. If you succeed, it's considered paid. If you fail, cancel playing it. I wonder if I was just like, because I know anytime you can take a 0 test, there's a chance that you can do broken things with it. So I was just wondering if there's anything like that. But that's for much jankier people than I.
Yeah, this just saves you like a couple odd resources when you're playing your 3-cost spells or whatever. Yeah. You're like, I'll just do a brain 1 test and not have to pay it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you intend to use like your blood rates for damage, because it does chew through your resources reasonably quickly.
And then also, like, if you fail and you're like, sorry guys, no Storm of Spirits, then you just walk away. Sorry guys, damn. The Trapezohedron has spoken. Yeah. All right, Innsmouth, what's the time code? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Agnes can play some of the curse, like the paradoxical cards.
Yeah, there's not too many, but I just put this for all of these, because there's nothing that's really actually, like, notable. But still, if you want to know what the curse and bless, you can check it out in the description.
Yeah, she does have like a couple of strong options here. We got the sword cane. Again, those hand slots aren't super competitive. You're very flexible in what you can put there. And this gives you good options for chipping away those garbage enemies and also for evading things.
Yeah.
We have Promised Power because, it's
good.
Yeah. Yeah. You're Abyssal Tome. You already have stuff that cares about Doom, so you could like kind of lean into that Doom archetype a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe play some like Moonlight Rituals.
Yep.
Or whatever they're called. And yeah, it lets you fight with your brain. Don't use your book.
Yeah, and also it can deal a boatload of damage.
It can, yes. Yeah. We got our enchant weapon, which you can play. And it's an event, so it only costs 1 technically.
Yeah. That is actually, and then you can shuffle it into your deck after it resolves.
That's a little more suspect, but yeah, this costs you 1, you just slap it onto your Guardian's sledgehammer, and you're like, boom, Cyclopean sledgehammer.
Just put it on your sword cane.
I mean, you could.
I mean, even though it is better on, a sledgehammer, like a Guardian weapon, if you're running Spirit of Thane, it's kind of probably actually okay then. Because then you're now attacking for 7, and you're dealing 2 damage.
Yeah, man,
right?
no, this card just makes your weapon into a Cyclopean.
And it costing
1.
And costing 1 is...
If you have a super limited collection, you have, literally Innsmouth, and this print and play, and, Corset, you could just run around stabbing things with Enchanted Knife.
If for example, though, were in that situation, I'm wondering why the heck you're, on Parallel Agnes. I mean, she's free! She's free! Actually, I'm going to take that back, because one of the things, too, that it's a little pet peeve I have with some of the recommendations that this game has, where people are like, you need to buy this, you need to buy this, you need to buy this, because, yeah, really, she's free on the internet. If you want to play her and you have a limited collection, frickin' do it, right?
Yeah, there's certain sets that are very beneficial to her, but you don't need them.
Yeah, and that's why we do these, and why people are like, why do you have Bulletproof Vest here? Because we're talking in that part of the video as if you only had the core set.
Yeah,
right?
some people are gonna not be able to find Circle Undone until it's released, which is totally fair.
Or they're good with their money, and they're they don't have a lot of it, so they're like, I'm gonna wait before I buy the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not all Jeff Bezos playing. I know you're watching this, Jeff.
He probably isn't.
He probably is. He's like, I keep losing with Parallel Agnes. I know what I'll do. Alright, Edge of the Earth.
You're probably like, oh, I did make it in. Yes! Good job, Past Travis. It's not a spell, it's Insight and Spirit, which is disappointing, but it's still pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's just, it heals you.
Yeah, for each of your spell slots that are filled, you can heal 1 damage or 1 horror. You're not always going to just do damage for this if your soak's really good. You could also do the horror. Healing is good. And even though, it's not a spell, so it's not reduced.
Yep.
It's still, if you need a plan to survive, it's not bad, right? For Parallel Agnes.
Yeah, it's also a good interim into stuff like Healing Words, if that's what you're going to look at for your healing, or Earthly Surrender or whatever. It's a fine level 0 option.
Yep. We have Down the Rabbit Hole. This lets you upgrade for less for the first 2 cards, and if you want to add cards, it increases by 1 for the first card you add. Not the first card. All the new cards you buy cost 1 more.
I still haven't played this card.
I played it in Parallel Agnes. You basically just it requires, for me, the only difference is that it's a little bit more boring, right? Because you're this is what my deck's going to be. It's just better, but it is kind of fun to plan your whole deck at the beginning. And then also, if you're going to be doing any of the spells here in Edge of the Earth, you're probably going to want to consider taking In the Thick of It, and then grabbing, if you're running, 2 brands and a divination, you're going to want to grab those level 1s, because then it just, to me, because then that's less about, I'm going to get this experience to just do it. It's to actually counteract them being more experienced in the future, right?
Do those cost more for you?
Yes, if you put them into your deck later. Right, so if you buy them within the thick of it...
Yeah, but you put Down the Rabbit Hole into your deck at deck creation. So,
yes.
It's part of your deck.
In the thick of it is also part of your...
Yeah, but then you get experience to spend to upgrade your cards.
But you're not upgrading those cards, right?
To, add new cards to your deck.
Purchase new cards. I think it doesn't work that. I think it's not counted as that part of thing there. Because it's because you're not purchasing. I don't know. From what I gather,
you're spending experience for them.
No, but like, there's something about it that's just like that's the way that it works. Like that's why in the thick of it is there.
Is the reason like that's the way you want it to work?
Well, no, it's just because that's like I think just there's some chat told me it was okay, and I trust them to the ends of the earth. Yeah.
I mean, like me too. I just do things when they're like, "Hey, did you know this?" And I'm like, "Now I do."
Yeah. Where's that written? Oh, on page 47 of this find you have to find on the internet.
Yeah, I do it later, and someone's like, "You can't do that," and I'm like, "Oh darn."
Yeah.
Guess I won't anymore.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it does work that way with the brands and the Down the Rabbit Hole. And if it doesn't, I think there's a big oversight in the design because that's obviously why In the Thick of It's here. I think it's for these spells and Down the Rabbit Hole from like a design standpoint. Someone in the comment will clarify, and then we'll listen to them until one day someone's like, actually, they were wrong. And then we're going to say, okay, we'll listen to you now.
Yeah.
We're just, that's how we work here.
Whoever tells us the most recent thing, that's what we know.
We're like, oh, cool.
Oh, good.
We have Heavy Furs, which can soak damage, and also you can reveal a new non-autofail symbol. Not number, symbol. Mm-hmm. That's something that I learned because I read the card many times, but for some reason, it didn't click for a while. We have Healing Words. You can use this to heal damage from investigators in the location. Healing damage is good as an Agnes Baker. And then we got Grounded. You get +1 skill value for each of your skill tests on spell cards. Non-direct damage on a horror must be assigned to it before it's assigned to your investigator card. Luckily, that's like, if you're doing Grounded, you're probably going to have plans for where to put your horror, so your damage besides her. Yeah, like that's part of like kind of the goal. Because...
I mean, even if you don't and you just play this, you get +1 for like 2 spells or whatever.
And it is 0 cost and fast.
Yeah, it's not awful.
Yeah. And then you can also spend resources to get +1 skill value for this test, for when you're doing spell cards. Which is good, because as we talked about some of the other stuff, where like you're not going to get those boosts from your spell cards, and this helps you do that. Brandigathuga is the fighting spell in Edge of the Earth we talk about in the spell video, which you can find down in the description. And then we got Protecting the Anurnic. This card is sick. After an ally asset, your location discarded by a card effector is defeated, which luckily Agnes can do. You can then you return that card to its owner hand, or you can draw, or its owner's draws 3 cards. So you can. This is another way to turn David Renfield into cards. This is another way to bring David Renfield back and be like, I have your soul. Get back out there. I'm going to kill you again. There's lots of different approaches you can take with this.
He's like, he's pounding up his doom. He's like, my ritual is almost complete. You're like, and you bring him back to life, and you're like, start again.
Yeah.
Please start again.
I had this dream, Agnes, that you murdered me. She's like, don't worry about it. All right, Travis, do some more of these guys.
Yeah. We got Divination and Blur in the spell video. They're just the investigating and the evading spells for the cycle. Then we got Prophetic. The top left here, this card is pretty nutso for Agnes. It lets you, it has 2 uses as resources on it. At the start of each round, you refill them. You can only spend those resources to pay for, what is it? The first one, Fortune. Who cares? Spells is the important one, and Spirits. And then as a Lightning Bolt, during a skill test on a Fortune, Spell, or Spirit, you can spend a resource from Perfect, get +1 skill value to that. This and Agnes's ability can be your economy forever.
Meditative Trance the Spirit. Yes! It's even better now.
Yeah. You should strongly consider putting this card in your Agnes deck.
Yeah.
And then we got Earthly Serenity here because...
Oh my god. All of the blood magic. You basically just like, carve yourself open, and then you're like...
Yeah, you just build yourself back up and make a brain 0 test, please. You're like, I have 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Alright.
So return to moves.
Suggestion. This, what I realized with Bryn, when we did this in Safina, card is just lockpicks. It's just lockpicks, but evading. So you're going to evade, you're going to add your brain to it, and if you evade the enemy, and if you do not succeed by at least 2, remove 1 charge from Suggestion. So if you want to evade, lockpicks is good at getting clues, so this is going to be good at evading. You're going to be evading at 8. It's like never stop. You're like rarely gonna, if ever, break all of your picks on your suggestion.
Yeah, for a single experience, that's a pretty good deal, actually.
It is, yeah. That's what Brent and I realized when we were talking about it. We were like, this card actually ain't that bad. The only downside of this one is that really there's a limited number of investigators that can really take advantage of it.
Yeah, who like actually want it.
Yeah, yeah. We got Blood Eclipse. Oh. Since it costs to play, you take 2 damage. This attack uses brain instead of fist. You get +2 fist and deal +2 damage with this attack. Sure, we might be trying to talk you into take 3 damage for this, but hopefully by now you've realized you can do anything when you have soak.
Yeah, you just use your earthly serenity and put yourself back together.
Yeah,
sew yourself back up.
I do think like if you're planning on recurring Blood Eclipse, you do need like a even tighter soak and healing plan, because like if you want to recur it, 3 is a lot. However, you still just can use this as a one-off kill spell, right? Like you can recur your Spectral Razors and just keep this as a one-cost kill spell, right? You don't really need to reduce it and do it over and over again.
No, you don't.
Yeah. We have the level 1 Alter Fate. It's a good stepping point between the two, and being able to play it over and over and over again can be good as well.
Yeah, it's just fine.
Yeah. Upgraded Sword of Spirits. Sword of Spirits. Storm of Spirits.
That would be cool.
It would be. It gives you +2 brain, and it deals 3 damage now. 2 damage to each investigator. If this is your plan, it's a good upgrade.
It's magic dynamite.
Yeah. We have Hallowed Mirror and Occult Lexicon. With both of these, you now get to change. You can change the 2 into a 3, or shuffle it into your deck, which means that now you can just like Hallowed Mirror. you could just Hallowed Mirror and do it, or as Travis said, you could just do both.
Yeah, just you play your Soothing Melody, and then you heal 3 damage, and you take a damage to shuffle it back into your deck, and you draw a card to replace it. You just get to heal 2 damage for an action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also can just, if you don't choose 3, you also can just do that.
Yeah.
But it does feel better. This is actually, but I mean, like, also on that note, like, if your damage is doing good, but your horror's feeling a little bit bad, you can just take a damage and then heal 3 horror.
Yeah,
and
nothing
then
wrong with that.
And then also, like, this gets really good with the upgrade of Blood Rites, because now it's draw 3. Like, draw 3, take a damage, shuffle that back into your deck when it's done. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got the Hierophant. You get additional arcane slot, and arcane slots can be used to hold accessory slots and vice versa. This can be...
You can play this instead of Relic Hunter.
You can play this as a Relic Hunter. You have to find it is the only downside, but just find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that.
There's probably like a decent, like, sort of tarot-oriented Agnes deck where you're playing, like, Moon Pendant and, like, 2 of these and 2 Moon...
Definitely.
Not 4 of Cups, that's the one I want.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, Travis. What are these investigator cards?
These are from the Jacqueline Fine deck. We got our 2 copies of Robe of Endless Night here. They take up your body slot, and they make your spells a little bit cheaper. They also soak heart damage, which makes your spells a lot cheaper. Yeah, these are just like basically resource cards.
Yep.
Economy cards. You don't need to keep them around, but you definitely can. Yeah, we have our upgraded Eldritch Inspiration here. Which is like the other one, but better.
Yeah, because it cares now about
but
when, if, or afters are...
Ask me how.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, level 2 grotesque statues, a nice stepping stone to the next one.
I'm just going to go to the next card.
Yeah, it does a very similar thing. Again, you have some things that care about drawing the symbol tokens, and this either helps you get them more consistently or avoid them more consistently.
Yeah.
We have the Fable level 2 Hypnotic Gaze. Wow. Yeah, this one costs 1 less. And so it's free.
Yeah.
And then
you get to its damage or horror. That's the difference. Yeah, that's a good upgrade. That's a good upgrade.
That's a good upgrade. Yeah.
Because now, like, it's not one of those things where
Yuck, stop up. You're just 5 horror, please.
Yeah. He's like, I have no deck to mill. What do I do? And then they just ripple away into the cosmos.
That's funny, man. Anyway, then we have our upgrade guts. This gives you an extra brain. If you succeed by 2 or more on your brain test, you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1. More card draw is just nice.
Yeah, this is really nice, and if you're doing a down the rabbit hole Agnes, because you're going to just be like, hey, I'm going to just get more guts.
Mm-hmm.
And cards are great. We love cards.
We do love cards.
Yeah.
You need cards, play cards.
There was a very apt statement by one of our users in our Discord that said, more cards help you win card games. And there's never been something truer spoken.
It's hard to play card games without cards.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Like everything. Like a deck builder, like more cards in your hand, you're going to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Any competitive card game,
Except for Uno.
Uno, that's true. Okay, you know what? Never mind what I said. All right, Travis, what's this deck?
This is the most brain easy Agnes deck, Feral Agnes deck I could come up with. We got our Occult Lexicon, our Hollow Mirror. We got our Six Senses to Investigate, our Scroll of Prophecies to draw cards, and our Heirloom of Hyperborea, of course. Holy Rosary to juice up our brain a little bit if we need that for the Six Senses. We got our Arcane Issues to find our spells, our Painkillers to heal our damage. Yeah, you can turn that damage into brain on the Holy Rosaries.
Yep.
Which is nice. And our little mini spell suite here is we have our Astral Traveler, our Deny Existences, Read the Sign, Spectral Razor, Storm Experience, and War Protection. It's a nice, very basic suite. Mm-hmm. 2 Guts and Manual Dexterity kind of fill things out here. This deck is, you can take it in multiple directions, which is the intent. You can go a little bit of the actual spell-based, the asset spell-based. There's the opportunity to pick up a Relic Hunter to play the Holy Rosary in addition to the Heirloom of Hyperborea. We've got... you can also just move into upgrading your Deny Existences, your Ward of Protections. Mm-hmm. This deck doesn't really lend itself to any one particular Feral Agnes deck. It's just there that you can go lots of ways for it.
Yeah.
Which is generally my goal with these.
It's a blank canvas. Yeah. And if he can, he would have already painted a Practice Makes Perfect on it, but not in this deck. Not here. No. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We're going to be back in 2 weeks where we're going to be talking about Rita. Young is her last name? I keep forgetting. Is Rita Young?
I think so.
Anyway, that's who our next expanded guide is. It's Rita. So, I hope you like evading and us talking about High Foot, because that's what we're going to be talking about.
Talk about how bad Rita is.
She's better than I do. She's gotten a lot of good tricks. We're going to say that. We're going to with these cards, she's good. She really busted wide open.
Yeah.
But we'll see you guys then. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.